Hey everybody, it's Jared with Stop Go Love Film and Photo, here to talk today about raw footage, what it is, what it isn't, and why we deliver it as a part of each one of our packages and why we like it so much. So we ask all the time, what the heck is raw footage? Do we need it? Do I not need it? Would I actually use it? How would I even use it? What am I actually gonna have delivered to my house at the end of the day? And it's a good question. We wrote a blog a couple of years back going through all the differences between what raw footage is, what it isn't, how you can actually use it. And we really got some pretty positive feedback about how people just thought it was something completely different. It really cleared up a ton of their questions. So we thought it was a good time to do a refresh on raw footage because it really has become a lot more popular. I've seen a lot of videographers out there start to offer it and actually sell it as an add-on for 500 or 1,000 bucks. We actually offer it as free of charge, a complimentary part of all of our packages because we do see a lot of value in it, and a lot of videographers really don't. So I wanted to just go through what it is, what it isn't, why we value it, and why nowadays we do deliver it as a part of all of our packages. So first off, what is it? What am I actually receiving in the mail when you deliver the raw footage? Well, I think the first thing to note is that the raw footage isn't necessarily something that you want to sit down on the couch, pour a glass of wine, and say, let's watch through the raw footage. Mainly because what you're receiving is a series of clips. For us, it's probably 350 to 600 clips, depending on how many shooters we have and just how much shooting we did through the day as opposed to setting up and driving, etc. There's a lot that we're doing behind the scenes. But every time we push start and stop on the camera, it creates a new clip that you're receiving. And so it's not necessarily something that you would want to, or even could just push play on and watch through beginning to end. You're really going to have to double click on each one. It's going to pop up. You can watch the whole file. So again, not something that necessarily you'd want to sit down in the living room and go through together. It's not a romantic evening. But some people have told us, hey, we sat down, we watched the raw footage. It was really fun. It was really funny because oftentimes you hear us complaining about sucking on a shot or something along those lines. And so it is exactly what we say, raw footage. So there's no color correction, there's no audio enhancements, and zero editing done to that footage. And that's important to know beforehand. We're not adding anything or taking anything out of that raw footage. Essentially what we do is we grab your footage off of an SD card and we dump it onto a hard drive and we ship it your way. There's nothing done in between except sending it along. So very, very, very raw. Number two, what raw footage is not. I think a lot of people assume that when they're receiving their raw footage on a hard drive that they're actually receiving what we call linear edits. And a linear edit could be your ceremony, it could be a toast, it could be cake cutting, really any kind of event through the day that's captured that you might want to relive, like the full ceremony, for instance, which sometimes is true. Sometimes in the raw footage, you'll be able to watch your whole ceremony from beginning to end. We oftentimes will have what we call a cutaway camera in the back of the ceremony, a wider shot that's capturing the entire event from beginning to end. And sometimes it sounds great, especially on the audio though, it can oftentimes sound pretty suspect. We're gonna hear a lot of coughing, we're gonna hear a lot of sneezing, and oftentimes, especially if we're in a church, it's gonna be very echoey because the camera is so far away, it's away from everything that's really happening. But luckily, when we record a person's ceremony, we're gonna be recording that camera angle. We're also going to be recording at least one other camera angle from the lead shooter, capturing close-up events. And then we're also recording multiple channels of audio as well. So when we capture probably 5 to 6 different assets, that's when we're able to really capture and edit what we call those linear edits that are much more watchable as opposed to just one camera angle in the back of the ceremony that you might not even be able to hear really what's going on. So that's a very distinguishable difference and should be noted while thinking about purchasing, or in our case, just receiving the raw footage. However, we do allow people to order linear edits as a la carte menu as well. So if that's an option that you would want to go with, you can just receive the raw footage. And then if you decide, hey, we actually want to have a linear edit done because it's not as good as what we want, that's totally possible. The other thing that the raw footage is not, is it is not a blooper reel. At least it's not a blooper reel of you guys. Usually it's a blooper reel on us because we'll be recording something and we might bump the camera ourselves and end up cussing at the camera. So you might laugh at us a lot more than you laugh at yourselves. A lot of times throughout the day, there's not a lot of kind of funny moments that are happening outside of the moments that we will include. I think a lot of people assume that there's a lot of like people having conversations that they'll actually want to listen to. A lot of times the audio that we're able to pick up, especially during getting ready, are people talking about the Red Sox game, people talking about the Kardashians, or really just country music or whoever blasting in the background. There's not really a lot of great audio kind of bloopers that we're going to be able to capture during the getting ready and behind the scenes. So those are things that the raw footage is not. And lastly, why do we like the raw footage? Why is it something that we include? This whole time I've been talking about what it is, what it isn't. It might seem like it's something that you might not even want, and I think a lot of videographers will kind of leave it there. They'll say it's not something that you'll actually use. However, we do see a lot of value in it. Oftentimes when we're editing, there's a lot of footage that's left on the cutting room floor, meaning we're going to use a 1 to 2 second clip of you and of the bridal party. But that full clip that we recorded is probably more like 20 to 30 seconds long. Myself as the editor, I would hate to be the judge and jury about whether you watch a clip ever. And so delivering that through the raw footage is a way that you can have that memory forever and not lose it to time. And I think a lot of people see value in that as well. So that's why we personally deliver it. So anyways, hopefully this has been helpful in learning about the raw footage and understanding what it is and what it isn't. I'm Jared Haskell with Stop Go Love, and we'll see you soon.